All right, we are now recording. In three, two, one. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to our Hotter Trash podcast. I'm your host, Brian. And this is also the part where we need to practice our introductions so y'all can go after me
Hey,
here.
it's your boy Victor.
My
Yeah,
co-host.
I'm straight.
Uh, uh,
Uh,
we'll
you know
work.
what? For the podcast, sure.
We'll work on that. God damn it. Anyways, hopefully he should be our permanent guest star, Loy. But
Yellow.
if you ever see that our guest star is not here, then either he's gone AFK or he's probably somewhere in a ditch. Who knows?
Probably
But
both.
shit. But
I mean, you gotta go
regardless,
somewhere to be in a ditch.
true. But anyways, let's start off with, let's say, for this evening's Hotter Trash podcast, we'll finally do what we've been set to do, where we're going to take our hottest or trashiest takes on things. So in this case, what is y'all's hot or trash takes on, in this case, fandom, and or which fandom has the worst fans?
Uh,
Bro, when it comes to fandoms, bro, it's always the big groups that have the worst fans.
Yeah, true. But
The
in this
most
case,
popular ones.
yeah. But if that was the case, if you compare all of the big popular groups, in your opinion, who has the worst?
um, probably Blinks.
Blink, I
What?
don't know, man. Armies, those armies too are very.
Blinks are. Oh no, yes, yes.
Armies are 100% worse, bro. Let me be honest with you.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, our hot takes. K-pop fandom is the worst fandoms to ever
It's not. It's not.
exist.
It's not K-pop. It's not K-pop fans that are the worst. It's just. I mean, we're just mostly familiar with K-pop, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, BTS is fandom. It's very bizarre. I mean, let's be honest, bro. How many of them that are actually talking shit about people who listen to other groups actually
Yeah.
listen to BTS since the beginning?
Yeah,
Because
it's
they were not popular in the beginning.
Oh, that's for damn sure, dude.
yeah. This is sort of less like something that I always saw, or pretty much like I've witnessed and kind of just see the whole community itself just tear itself apart based on like what other groups of people think about them, or if anything, they just like this and don't really like the group that these fake craze fandoms loved a lot, and they're kind of like villainizing them for not liking their group, which is kind of weird,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, it is very weird. I mean, like, the music's not going to be for everybody. Everybody has different taste in music, and suddenly now we have this one group, just one fandom, trying to instill their opinions onto others.
Yeah, it's like, hold up there. I thought this was like a type of culture that we've gone past the fact that like we should be accepting. What the hell happened with this? Now, given that this type of fandom didn't like just start at like when BTS went into fame, this happened way beforehand too. Like, let's think back from Big Bang, Girls' Generation, Wonder Girls. From that point on, like I'm pretty sure too that like groups of fandoms from there too, they were also like toxic towards each other. But this was also sort of less like a niche group of people to begin with here in America. I don't know what it was like in Korea.
Yeah, yeah. Back then, definitely K-pop wasn't as big as they are now. So
Hmm.
I mean, we listened to K-pop back in those days, but we weren't like too into the scene where we understood what the fans were thinking. So I mean, I
Hmm.
couldn't really tell you how the fandom was back then. But I mean, nowadays, since the internet's really prevalent, and we're able to pay attention to them more, we can see that these new fandoms are very just they're just very toxic for no reason.
Yeah, it's also, this also goes really into detail too. This sort of less some like goes into a lot of the times when I'm on dating apps. There'll be some girls that put on their like die hard fans that they put themselves as like BTS army stance, and it's something like, for me, I kind of avoid that in general.
Oh yeah, you should, especially if you're not a
Like,
K-pop fan. It's gonna be even worse.
yeah, because like I know for certain too, like whenever I see stuff like that too, and that is under their profile, given the fact that maybe that's also too presumptuous of me to think otherwise, right? But
Mm.
But if they're
chances
willing to put
are,
that there, I mean, if they're willing to put that on their profile, chances are they're a toxic army.
yeah, like that's what I was thinking too. And like I myself didn't want to really risk that, but I don't know. Maybe this again, I'm probably the problem too, thinking that like there are probably a bunch of bad people, but unless like otherwise too, I've seen a lot of shit go towards like the K-pop fandom that a lot of people
Mhm.
like us kind of just see them like in a very terrible light.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's even gone to the point too where like I think racism gets involved as well too. Like sometimes when you see like other minorities that obviously are not like Korean, that they're just doing like covers of like the K-pop songs, apparently the fandom gets very triggered by that for whatever reason. I'm so confused by that.
No, don't worry. You don't have to worry about that, bro. It's racism like against foreign members of a certain K-pop group, so that's not something out of the ordinary in
Yeah,
Korea, anyways. Korea's notoriously racist.
yeah,
It's pretty prevalent.
yeah. Yeah. We've already had this talk too, where like a lot of times, like Asian countries are racist towards each other too. But when it comes to K-pop fans too, it's just like they kind of perpetuate that by a lot as well, especially
Yeah, bro,
somewhat of like the American fans too, which is even
yeah,
more
bro,
bizarre.
if you're not that handsome, light, white, pale ass skin Korean, bro, you're gonna get discriminated.
Yeah, and it's like, why are we like devolving ourselves to do such actions like that too? So it's like, okay, given the fact that I could probably say too, we could probably look back on like American pop star like fandoms too, like Beyonce, Kanye fans and whatnot too. At least like even from what I've seen so far too, yes, we have like different groups like bashing heads against each other, like who is the greater rapper into our existence. Like it's either Kendrick, J. Cole, or someone will die hard say that Drake is the best rapper of all time. I like to argue with that person actually, but it
I
gets to
get you.
that. It's like that too, but it's like somehow I maybe it's also me kind of looking at this in a very naive way. It somewhat seems like they live with each other coexistently, kinda. Where at least with a K-pop fandom, it's a lot of mixed bags here. Like you do have fans that are actually like decent human beings towards
Yeah,
others.
those are majority of the fans. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. It's just also again, why are like the most toxic fandoms people are usually the small minorities that just ruin it for everyone. Like this also goes to like both the K-pop stuff, anime fandoms, anime fandoms, streamings, and also influencers as well.
I mean, the small look at this. It's like a dog. The Chihuahua has the biggest mouth, while a giant pit bull is like the people are scared of the giant pit bull, but they're very nice normally under
Yeah.
normal circumstances.
Yeah.
But it's the little Chihuahua that makes the bitches the most.
Yeah. If it's not also obvious too, we ourselves do not like chihuahuas that much.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, because why are they so aggressive? Anyways, moving on from that.
But
But yeah,
yeah, the smallest groups make the biggest noise. That's all I could say.
mm, which if anything, it's just like I don't know. Is there some things that like even with like their own fandoms, like they are can they really self-regulate themselves to that point too, or do you think at this point it's just like let that individual just like talk their feelings out or some shit, right?
But how you just self-regulate? I mean, honestly, when they encounter real fans, like the true fans, they're gonna get put into their place. But at the
Mm,
same time, they don't care. Like the toxic fan doesn't care.
yeah, and it's just like so that you start to question like that individual person, like, are they really in this case fans, or are they just using this as like a platform for them to just spill out like their own like troubles, like that kind of shit that I've seen like most
Um,
people use or most people do.
that is hard to say because you can't deny that they are fans since they're still in the fandom and defending all these members per se,
Hmm.
this group. But there is love for the group to a certain extent before it becomes very like your toxic behavior spills out. and
I
what you're
think I
doing doesn't pertain to the group at all.
I'm thinking that the toxic fans are the ones that are very parasocial because if you notice, the toxic fans are always the one, like let's say BTS for example, like
Hmm.
one of their members is my husband or something like that.
Yeah, it's like given on
Very,
the
I
internet.
think the toxic ones are the ones that are very parasocial. Maybe that's why it's also a small subgroup because not very many people are that mentally deranged.
Yeah, uh, and I think this is also a very interesting, like, a way to really look at it. Too. Like, would you in this case correlate a lot of like the toxic fandoms that we see nowadays to be like people that are in this case are parasocial?
They should be because Korea has a thing called I forgot how to pronounce it properly. Sangs or something. Say sangs, say songs, whatever. They're overly obsessed fans.
Hmm.
That's what they are.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure like in Japan they have like stuff like that occur as well. Like I've heard like a lot of times the voice acting roles too, because a lot of like the voice actors in Japan are treated like superstars over there too. And then there will be times too where like some of the fans that this voice actor was receiving to was getting to the point where he himself was being disturbed. He was disturbed by like the contents of the mail. Where at any point too, he actually had to like file restraining orders, like making sure that no mail would actually reach his house, given from this address or by this person's pen name.
Like,
Like,
yeah, some idols will have to take such drastic measures to protect themselves and protect their family.
yeah, and it is like again like the parasocial behavior. This is also something that like it's being recently talked about now, right? Where it's either like some people are trying to like demonize the people too, which albeit probably not the best way, but at the same time they still are addressing it. And then there are those that are also trying to like kind of do the other approach too, where they're trying to address the fact that we recognize that you do have parasocial behavior too. But it's like, what is it that we as like influencers, idols, or like any big entertainment group is supposed to really do about that? Just because at the end of the day, there's some
Yeah,
of these people they just make music to either depending on if it's by corporate interest or they just do it because it's fun. And like in general too, I think the whole idea of parasocial behaviors is very new and it's something that like I'm more or less interested in understanding.
yeah. I mean, it is pretty recent because this whole explosion of live streaming and all that really perpetuate this whole thing. I'm sure there were people at parasocial before. We had celebrities for like a long time now, but
Yeah,
I think it's gone more extreme now because of this explosion in live streaming.
yeah, especially like I think right now it's also like VTubers as well that in this case, like if anything, the type of fandom behaviors that we've seen in like VTuber culture is practically no different than if you were to take the streamers route or if you look into like in any famous K-pop groups at all, that you could kind of see like the fandom kind of mimics the behavior of like every big entertainment group, right?
Mhm.
So that's why I'm very curious on the fact too that like I think there was something that was mentioned too, and I think it was in a Ludwig video, right? Where I think he probably I think for certain like he handled it pretty poorly too, but it's also the fact that it does kind of make sense why he did feel that way too. And it's because the fact that when he ever gets messages where it says like his fans like saved his life and whatnot too, and the Ludwig just goes in and says, I did not save your life. I do not care. And it's like he does elaborate on that, right? He does say that what I am only a streamer, right? And you guys are my viewers. Like normally that's just how things are, or that's how it should be. To say that I save your life too, there is something deeply troubling you, right? Which, if anything, this is like a lot more recent push that a lot of these bigger influencers, streamers, and VTubers are really trying to debate in topics about like how should they handle parasocialism?
Mhm. Yeah. No, honestly, yes. Maybe a lot of people will see his approach as very extreme, but I see it as as how it should be. You know, he's telling the truth. He doesn't know who you are. How
Mhm.
can he give a fuck about something about someone he doesn't know?
Yeah, and, like,
And how
I
does
think
he? And
mhm.
he did absolutely nothing to save his life. So how can you say that?
Yeah, and it's just, like, it's honestly so much dynamic that goes around with right now talking about this, and it's honestly fascinating how there's still also people too in this case, I'm not also, like, trying to take bash at people that want to defend parasocialism too, because, like, maybe these guys do actually need help as well, but it's also sometimes, like, the people there that also try to defend it, they need to also be realistic with themselves too, because, like, again, from, like, based on what we see about these fandoms and how we can all, like, recognize it, even within communities too, that these people need help.
Yeah, yeah,
And
I
it's not
agree.
like and it's like, if you're also a normal fan too, you would know too that, like, this person is technically not even that qualified to help you for that. He could probably talk you through it like as a friend would, but at the same time, would you even trust a friend if you're going through stuff like in mental, like, to the point too where, like, I don't think anyone else can provide context, nor can they provide a level of empathy to really relate the problems that you're going through right now, that you cannot do without seeking professional help. Like, do you think that's what's going on too, where, like, a lot of times people just are not seeking the right help, or does that honestly just depend?
I mean, people just don't seek help in general.
Mhm.
Honestly, like everybody, everybody definitely needs help. Everybody has their own problems they have to deal with, but nobody goes out and asks for help.
Mhm. Yeah, that's something that, like, I think a lot of times too, again, with these same streamers too, they're also been preaching about, like, if you are in this case are trouble too, please actually seek for help. There's even like times too where streamers do like make disclaimers while on stream saying that we cannot help you with like mental problems due to the fact that we are not qualified to do such things. Just because one, it's so much of a heavy burden on them that they are not prepared for, and it's also going to create a lot more liability on their part should things go wrong with them, which we kind of see what happens to some like idols that try their best to like help out like these very troubled people, and it goes backfiring on them, right?
Mhm.
And yeah, and it's a really tragic way of like really like again, people needing to know how to like put boundaries, right? I think that's something that like everyone else should already know. A lot of people are talking about like trying to set your boundaries, right?
Yeah, but also at the same time, they there's something they're inherently missing deep down, which is why they are very parasocial. I mean, the way I see it, anyways.
Hmm.
I mean, obviously, they're lacking some sort of companionship, which is why they have these
Right.
parasocial behaviors.
Now, this will actually be a hot or trash take on this. Do you think the people that do in this case suffer for parasocialism, they are also big fans of like ASMR videos? This is just a shit take at this point.
I don't know, honestly. I can't really tell.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe people who like ASMR just like the sound of
Mhm.
just like the sound they make whenever they fall asleep or something. I don't know if that correlates with parasocial behaviors.
Yeah. If anything, that if this was honestly a shit take, right? Just because like I know that's not the actual case too. Like if anything, they could be correlated, but that's not actually like. Does that mean they are? No, I don't think so either.
Honestly, logically thinking, I can't see a correlation between them, anyways.
Oh well, never mind then. Shit. But and like if anything, right now, do you think that there is going to be some type of improvement trying to help the fandoms out in all fields, or do you think this is just going to be a problem that's either going to keep growing or just something that will just happen to everybody?
Oh, this will be a problem that's gonna keep growing at 100%.
Hmm.
How do you help a person that's in love with someone else?
Oh, actually, that is true. Shit.
How are you supposed to help that? I mean, they're in love with a person. How are you gonna explain to them that they don't know who you are and that they're never gonna love you?
Yeah, that it's like that itself too is like reality shattering to people.
It is.
Like,
It is.
and oh my
Even though
god,
they know, it's also weird because I'm sure that they also know that they're never gonna actually be with the idol, but yet they still have the same feelings for him.
it's like if anything too, it's like the constant like streams of like you're just telling yourself lies about these things that like you're blinding yourself from the reality for the purpose that you're afraid to face it is what I feel is happening.
Kind of, yeah. Because that's how I see it as parasocial.
Hmm.
That's how I see parasocial behaviors. Because if you love them, but you also accept the fact that they don't know who you are, then how can you become insane?
Hmm. Because like yeah, it's like we say like mentally deranged too. We're not really trying to implicate like these people are like actual like sociopaths or anything. No, if anything, it's just like there is some part of like a human need that they are missing that they can only get from like from K-pop groups performing to live streamers or even watching their favorite VTubers that they themselves cannot get in their own personal lives, which is something that's actually a lot more bothersome the more you think about that. Like, if anything, like, why it's like, what is it that a peer person is actually missing in their own lives? Which I feel like in this case, the answer is obvious. Like, how how much is it that you are not able to communicate with people outside of like the or able to communicate people around you? I'm sorry if I'm walking in circles right here. I'm trying to come up with the things I'm saying. This happens
Yeah,
a
that's
lot, by the
fine.
way.
I mean, yeah, I mean, people who are very let's say, I'll just say antisocial because it's just the only word coming to my head right now.
Hmm.
People who are very antisocial, they're always on the internet, and it's a lot easier to type and text to people than actually trying to speak it out.
Yeah, like I wouldn't necessarily like point the two to like I'm pretty sure like I want to at least make the claim too that parasocial like behavior too can you could definitely trace that back way before the internet was created. But do you think that because of that the internet was created, it actually highlighted the flaws that
Yeah,
fandoms
yeah,
have?
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the point I made earlier, is that the internet really brought out the extremes of parasocialism.
Hmm. Like, oh my god. Like if anything, some I feel like in this case, few of us actually do have people that we know that do have like parasocial tendencies, right? Because fortunate for me, I don't think I do. I've heard stories of other people that I knew that knew people that were like that.
Honestly, I love watching like a couple of my streamers that I watch all the time, but I'm not like obsessed. You
Hmm.
know.
Yeah, and, like I wouldn't like in this case us in the right now here, right in this group, we don't.
Mhm.
I don't believe that we ourselves are that attached to any people that we follow, right? Shit,
No,
No, not
not
really. We know
yeah.
boundaries.
yeah, I mean, shit,
We know they're just a bunch of streamers just doing their own thing. We just watch them because we enjoy them.
yeah, I mean, shit, I dick right on J Cole, but I know my limits on that shit too. I like his music, but if anything, to really like compare this behavior with like everything else as well, I don't think I'm at that level compared to like what people call diehard fans about. But even then
Mhm.
too, like
But
I
then, but then,
classify diehard fans as completely different to parasocial fans.
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
interesting.
Diehard fans are fine. Diehard fans are big supporters of the streamer or idol or whatever.
Hmm.
Parasocial fans imagine themselves with the idol. Like I said, like some of the BTS armies, some of them see a couple of the members as their husbands.
Hmm.
That's where it gets really crazy.
Yeah, and there's like, oh my god, all the horror stories about like the time as well. Like if any of the fans like detects like a feeling or inkling that their favorite idol group is like out and about with someone else that they don't know about, they will probably send death threats to the idol and the person that they are allegedly with.
Oh no,
Yeah, so those
it's
are
not probably.
Oh
It's
man.
definitely.
see. Yeah, that's the parasocial fans. Diehard fans would support that relationship.
Hmm. Just because
That's the
like,
thing.
yeah, because the diehard fans have like a difference in this case. They have an understanding of like the expectations that they
It's
have,
that they actually want the idol to be successful. And
right?
successful doesn't just mean that they have a lot of fame or money. It could also be it could also be like a personal success, like being in a relationship with someone that they love, you know?
Hmm. Kevin.
Okay, fan ruined concert tickets. I agree with you, man.
I it's like part of it is that, but also part of it is Ticketmaster. Fuck you, Ticketmasters.
Damn, stop calling people out, bro.
I mean, to be fair, it's a
Yeah, bro,
company.
I barely got my Twice tickets.
I mean, to be fair though, I could call out companies. Uh, well, but yeah, inflated at AF. Yeah, I agree. If anything, Ticketmaster itself probably had like served the issue with the fact that like a lot of times a K-pop fandom gets even more rabid when it comes to like their favorite group coming into the US. If anything, this is us speaking in relative terms to the K-pop fans here in America. I'm pretty sure it's way different in Korea and probably a hell of a lot more judgmental, but then again, that's just my opinion. But I, I don't know. It's a lot of difficult moving parts when it comes to like dissecting the fandom, right? Like you have like the people.
Everybody has their own like opinion and behavior in that
Mhm,
fandom, and it all just becomes a mixed bags.
yeah, I'm only speaking in like terms of that too, just because like me, like witnessing a lot of anime fandoms too, which is like even also they parrots back to like how K-pop fandoms interact with each other as well, such as like, oh, you don't like Dragon Ball Z? Well, fuck you. You are a lesser human being than me. I was like, what? Fuck you. You don't watch Bleach either? You're also trash. Like, it goes even that too.
Mhm.
And it's just like, God, can y'all just not like start shit already? I'm just trying to enjoy stuff, man.
You know, now that you mentioned that, it kind of makes me think that maybe this parasocial behavior really was always prevalent in like animes and stuff. You know, talking about waifus and shit.
Yeah, like that's what I thought too. Like for me to I most of my like background, like understanding like the fandom base was from anime, right? and
Hmm.
and it's just like there's always like the different types of memes of like typical like shonen fandoms, which is like your Bleach, Naruto, and all like the mainstream like boy style anime, and then shoujo
Hmm.
style fandoms, which are mostly like girl like focused like anime too. They're more like supportive of each other kind of deal, which is like interesting to say the least. This also kind of mirrors back to someone that I know says that why is it that every time that I try to watch animes, dude, every shonen fan will spoil everything about it. So it like ruins the experience for everybody else. I was like, how are you supposed to develop fans that way? And I was just like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, this type of shit went on for a while, right? But I guess it's also like they kind of take a different approach where it's like the same thing with K-pop fans where they're like hyping up like their groups like next like singles that they're about to release, right? Or their next album drop.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So it's nothing that much different too, but I can also see it in a very much a toxic way too, where it could get to like annoying depths. Like, why aren't you excited for this? As excited as I am. And it's just like, I mean,
Du-
dog,
du-
chill. Like, I don't know. What is your take on like that type of like, conversation point that, or do you think it's just
Uh,
like the same?
um,
Um, Good question.
Oh shit! I didn't even think of it. Oh damn! I thought you guys would
well,
have something to say.
I do get. I can only speak on the like for the K-pop side since I've
Mm,
been listening to it. I do get what you're trying to say. Is like
mm.
everybody's like hyping like these like the fans like in a particular like in a particular fandom, right? They're trying to hype up this new music video. Like new music, like the title song is like, oh my god, this is gonna be like the biggest one yet. Then, everybody's like hyping it up and they're trying to like stream it. It's like just break records. And honestly, I don't like that people are just streaming it and they're just like, oh, let's just stream it and get views and break these records. And it's like, what's the point of the music if all you're gonna do is just put it in the background, not really listen to it, you know? Like I don't agree
Mhm.
with it. I think the point of that music is for them to put out their hard work and for the fans to actually listen to it and understand the lyrics and not just break all these records. And maybe people are really listening to it, and the views will, you know, will account for it.
Reflect it, right?
Yeah. So
Also, that's also the first time of me hearing that. Like, are there actually fans that would just stream like whenever their next music video drops too?
Oh
no,
yeah, oh yeah,
no,
bro.
people do like go like post like, oh, go stream like this song. Like let's
Gar-
say it's a BTS song, like go stream the new BTS song. It's like it's shit
yeah,
like
no,
that,
no, there are definitely people who do that.
I
I have read about people who make multiple accounts just to watch that music video.
oh my god.
This is coming from the Twice point of view because I am a once. If you guys haven't noticed that yet,
Shit. Yeah,
but
we're about to go to their concert soon.
but from the Twice fandom point of view, yes, they are very. This is what they do. This is exactly what they do. They watch.
Oh my
They
god.
always talk, and every single music video is always about go stream Twice's music video, or somewhere in social media go stream Twice's new music video. Go watch the new music video. And then some guy in the comments said he has like a lot of different accounts just to stream this music video and all that. And they're all about just trying
Mm,
to break their previous record of how fast how many views they can rack up in 24 hours or something like that. It's all about breaking records to these people.
mm, yeah. And I feel like if anything too, with like those groups of people, because I think right now we could kind of go past from the parasocialism. Now we get to the other parts of the fandom too, who in this case I will classify them as gatekeepers.
Yeah, we'll go from parasocial to now just
Ga-
would this be Die Hard or would this be actually this will be called obsessed. I think Die Hard
mhm,
still isn't to the level of obsession yet. And
yeah,
then you have parasocial.
yeah. And I think if anything, parasocial is like its own type of category group that can be considered like as part of like the obsessed group of people, right?
Mm, Yeah, it's past obsession. You're past help there.
Yeah, like especially right now, then we can kind of reel it back in from here too. Like in this case, I will at least explain my example with gatekeeping when it comes to like anime stuff. Um,
Mhm.
Lloyd, you know about the website like My Anime List, right?
yes, I
Did you know for like 10 consecutive years too, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhoods remained as the number one anime on that list for so long too? And that anytime there was ever a new anime that threatened to take its spot too, all of those fans would downvote the shit out of it.
that is
It is
that's
terrible.
interesting.
It is actually terrible too, because the fact that here's the thing about like the way how it is too. For me though, this is also coming from an anime watcher too. I thought in this case, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood was decent. It was okay. Or good at least. Just because one, it followed the manga, la di da di da. Like, fine, right? I still grew up with the original, which had like a very interesting ending, just because the anime caught up the manga and it did its bullshit, tried to fuck. What do we do here? We'll make up a new story for the anime series, and then the manga didn't follow that anime series story, so it's fine. Anyways, besides that point, it came to the point as well too that it wasn't until recently where now Bleach, the thousand year blood war, actually hits number one spot. And this was something that was unanimously agreed, and that's something that like everybody was criticizing my anime list about, like you shouldn't allow fans to be able to like just downvote any new anime that it wasn't like to the prestige level in their eyes of what Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood to them was. Despite like how everything that came out recently was amazing. But yeah, this was something that I don't know in K-pop groups, like if there's something like that that's going around a lot.
I wouldn't personally know. I haven't like I've been out of it, like that fandom, like per se.
Hmm.
I was never really a part of it, but sometimes I was more in into it, like checking like the news and everything on like Korean websites or like
Hmm.
Korean like K-pop idol like actor websites to keep up with news and everything. I was more into that, but
Yeah.
ever like I am not into it at this point in time. Mainly just listening to music, and if there's like somebody I really grew up with, and I hear news about them, like it's good for them. That's to the extent of it.
Yeah, and I was hoping for the at least like we would probably get better as like for me speaking in behalf on like other stuff that I only know here. I was hoping that at least the anime community themselves would at least be more accepting about like this shit too. But this was something that like it drove me it just gave me a headache looking at reading at the fact too that like there are still fans and people that still defend Final Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is still by far the best anime that it's ever made. Even though coming from any normal viewers that would watch it, dude, they would just say it's all right. Let's say realistically, they'll all just say it's all right. Like if anything, that's any normal person's reaction to like someone that like hypes it up so much, and then just them being like, it's cool.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying that some like to the average viewer, they can say that this anime, like for example, what you're using it for Brotherhood, is like, oh, it's a decent anime. But for other people that really liked it, enjoy the story, and
Hmm.
there's other factors that make like that anime like top tier for them. So
Yeah.
it's like just like everything else, anime is subjective, and what you watch and what you like is subjective, and what you want to recommend to people, that's up to you to recommend it or not. Or and you also give the disclaimer like, hey, you might have to get through like a certain, you know, factor of like uncomfortableness, and you have to go through that if you really want to watch this. But you have to
Hmm.
like, it's all up to the person how they view this anime, either if it's top tier, average, or just straight trash.
Yeah.
So,
And yeah, that's also again that will literally to wrap like all of these points around to. Let's just say like to tell like these like obsessed groups of people in the fandom, it's just like people are allowed to have opinions. Like even sometimes in their own fandom too, they will shut each other up based on the fact that someone like took like a an opinion piece that sounds like a slight to the group too, but in reality, it wasn't even that bad of an opinion.
hmm
And it's like they
yeah,
take so much offense for it. I don't know. I know that like, people have done this a lot when it came to like the like all the bigger Korean or K-pop groups too. When there was like someone like wanted to voice their opinions about something, and it's like it sounds like it's a pretty legitimate like criticism. People would just like, "Oh, you're just a hater. You're not a true fan." That kind of shit. And I guess this kind
well,
of parrots back to a lot of like American fans too when it comes to their favorite artist.
yeah, but to add on to your point, I do feel like you can be a fan and not like every one of their like songs. Like if you are a fan of like an anime or like a music group, you can like them as a fan, right? But if they put out hot garbage, and you can say it's hot garbage, it doesn't mean you're any less of a fan. You're just being truthful to yourself. It's like, I don't like this music that he put, like this artist put out, or what this anime is showing. I don't like what it's, I don't like the animation or anything. It's just things like that. You can still be a part of it, but you don't have to like everything.
Yeah.
You can
It's like
say
the,
like you can, yeah, I'm done.
yeah, it's like being a Cowboys fan.
Yeah, like no, like exactly, like no, exactly, dude. You can you can be a Cowboys fan, but you have to be very truthful to yourself.
Mhm.
You love them, you will ride with them to the like fucking ends of the earth. But when you see like it is a horrible season, you have to admit to yourself and stop being delusional that they just fucking suck that this season, okay? You just no questions asked. They just suck.
This not
And
our year, boys.
I feel
it's
like
not
every fandom should have like the Cowboys fan mentality. I feel like that's my shit take on that.
They should, because Cowboys fans are very interesting to me. They love the Cowboys, but they also understand their flaws and will talk absolute shit about it.
okay.
It's just like
I am a part of it. I will admit that I'm a part of it, but I'm very truthful. Like, damn, they fucking suck. Why are they doing this shit? I'm shit talking them during fucking the game, and when I see them win, of course I'm gonna fucking cheer, but I'm still gonna shit talk.
oh man. Yeah, sports
Same,
fans
bro.
itself seems I feel like it seems a bit more different compared to like
No,
or
definitely
is it
not. I think it just depends. It just really depends. I know
right, right.
soccer. I know there are soccer fans who are
All right,
very,
you're right. Shit.
very, very, very terrible. No, but it just depends. Cowboys fans, I think they're the real only exceptions, because there's something about being a Cowboys fan and truly understanding that they suck dick.
And then sometimes people taking pity on like Cowboys fans.
And everybody
Yeah.
roasting the shit out of them. They are the nation's fucking laughing stock. Every
They're the
every
nation's
game.
team. They are the nation's team for a reason. They're the nation's laughing stock. They are the nation. They're just everything. The nation's everything team.
God damn. Just not
Every
winning
every
apparently.
conversation about every conversation about football always mentions the Cowboys some way or another.
Yeah, it always go back to the fucking Cowboys, whether you like it or not. Every game that people are watching them, you either hate them and love them, but you can't and you roast them, and you can't stop talking about them. It's always something with the Cowboys, and you will every other team can make the same fucking mistake, but if the Cowboys do it, it is amplified tenfold, and they are shit talk to the fucking ends of the earth. That is
Oh
fucking
Yeah,
straight
I
up fact.
feel like every fandom on this planet should really learn from Cowboys fans. Like you
man.
can love the team, but you got to understand their flaws too. I mean, you don't have to talk shit about them, obviously, but you got to understand their flaws
Mhm.
too. And this is the only way to be a true fan.
It was like, or we can literally go back to like the gaming scene too. Imagine being a TSM fan, especially right now. Holy fuck.
I don't know much about it.
Well, from what I've known too, like people like despite like no matter what group they are in, they will keep chanting out TSM's name. I don't although to be fair, I
Okay,
don't know if they
okay.
shout it ironically or
To
unironically.
no. To be fair, that is just an absolute meme now. That is,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
think
fair
they're
enough.
truly supporting TSM anymore. But I'm for sure that is an absolute meme.
Alright, fair
Shouting
enough.
TSM literally anywhere. I
Alright,
mean,
fair enough.
even in the EU, they shout TSM randomly. It's just a meme.
Alright, you heard it here. TSM is trash. We're coming after you, Reggie.
Yeah, throw so much, bro. Come on. TSM
Shit.
is like the most meme team right now.
Uh goddamn.
Most memed esports team,
Goddamn.
and for good reason, because they are a meme.
Yeah. I'm that makes me wonder too, like I'm pretty sure, like in our LCS, when we were watching like LCS back at like the season 3 or 4 days, that was the only reason,
Mhm.
or that was the only years that we saw like League of Legends actually start popping up. What do you think, or which do you think esports fans were actually the worst?
That's
Honestly, I think
very much.
from beginning to end has always been TSM, because TSM has been there since the beginning,
Hmm.
and they obviously, as the years go by, they get more and more toxic.
Yeah, sort of.
So I personally say TSM. I personally say TSM, but everyone else can have their opinions.
Yeah, it's fair enough. I yeah, I think it's like I think everyone else can kind of agree too that TSM fans are usually like the most toxic as well. But it's also like in general too. Feel like every time like you support like a team as well. And I guess this comes back to our main point too. When you have a big group of people that supports a group of people or say either an individual too, you're gonna have like a bunch of smaller individuals that will have the loudest voice that kind of just ruins the image of the fandom itself. Like in this case, the TSM fans, the Cowboys fans, or even like BTS fans or the Army group. God damn, I need to remember like the K-pop groups like fandom names. Like I only know
Oh
Army
no.
and Once, and I'm still learning about the others.
Okay,
Call me
we
old.
got. If you want to go, we can go on off a tangent right now. Like it's like so BTS, their fandom, Army, once, twice, Blinks or Blackpinks. Um,
Okay.
I got seven, but they disbanded. I don't know if
Oh,
you, but I think it was I got seven,
Yeah, I
uh,
got 7.
okay.
and yes, so it's very weird.
God
Don't
damn.
that's just a few examples, but you can
Hmm.
tell like people do really put the fandom names like to like they really think about it.
Yeah, and that's also why it brings back to the point. No, I don't swipe right on girls that put that on their profile says I'm a BTS Army stan. I'm like, nope.
I'm like,
Oh yeah, he doesn't swipe right. He just deletes the whole app.
Yeah, I delete the app. That the app is gone.
yeah, dude, just
It was
delete the
like
app.
that whole demographic pool is gone. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Like I'll probably say this too for like in most guys' cases too. I don't know how many of y'all do. Let's say like, would you even date a person too that is like that into a K-pop group or idol or just like anything else if they're that die hard about it? Would you date
When
anyone?
they when they start getting obsessed, that's when I start questioning it
Mm,
because obsessed. Let's see. I would say I'm on a level of Die Hard, not quite obsessed yet. I buy other albums, but I'm not. I buy all Twice's albums, but I'm not to a point where
mm,
I'm like overly obsessed with any of the members.
right.
Hmm.
So I think up to Die Hard is where I'll get to. So if a fan is any more than that, I start questioning them
Mm.
because they'll probably have like 30 posters of Jimin
Oh
somewhere in their
God.
walls that have like all these BTS merch and stuff. That's when it gets that's when I don't want to get near that.
Yeah, that at that point, I actually feel disturbed for like the idol that this person is worshiping.
Hey, you calling me out or something? Shit, I got like 30 posters.
I
Not
was like, shit, if you
Yeah,
say
bro, I
anymore,
wouldn't
I'll
date you,
send
bro.
you a cut. I'll send you a
shit.
freaking cutout poster of J Park Angel.
Hey, the man, don't bring up the man's name. He's very controversial in the K-pop community.
Oh, really? I what's
Yes,
that
yes,
about?
he is. He's very controversial. Like if
I
you go
see.
back like a few years, he's very controversial. You can look that
Uh,
up, and then we don't have to talk about
Bro,
it.
he's been controversial
Like
ever
since his
since, bro.
fucking debut, like
oh
back in
my.
Yeah.
2PM.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Good to know.
you can look up into that.
I
So
see. All I remember
That
from
man's
like
life is a controversy.
the only controversy like I've actually heard about him was the fact that like he was trying to be a translator to one of like the Korean UFC fighter, and J Park was saying a lot more shit than he needed to say, and was about to get himself into a fight or got himself socked.
no, he got himself.
Yeah.
He got slapped. He did.
Yeah. Ah, shit.
He
But
did.
yeah,
He did get slapped. Indeed.
I'm like, God damn. So if anything, this also kind of goes back to, do you think also sometimes a fandom group can be influenced based off like how like the person that they are fans of are also allowing them to act as well?
Mm,
Like
um
like like okay,
do you really, I mean, do you really have any control what your fans do or think about you?
yeah. I mean,
I
that
mean,
is
you can
interesting.
say that the fans shouldn't think about this way about you can a streamer could say that they don't want the fans to think a certain way about them, right?
Hmm.
But how can you truly control that? You don't.
Yeah. But
Going back to the Ludwig thing, like they don't know who you are. they don't care about you because they don't know who you are. How do they care about something about someone they don't know?
Yeah. And here's also a take with that too, because like on the opposite ends of the influencer group, how in this case you think to like people kind of also say like trash about like the Logan Paul fans too. But it's also like you look at like or you look at the person that these guys are a fan of, and you see that again, both Logan Paul and Jake Paul are practically saying to for the fandom to like start targeting like everything else, be as fucking absolute batshit insane as you can, kind of deal.
Yeah, those are the. I mean, those are the rare type of influencers.
Hmm.
It's. I mean, normal influencers really just say that you shouldn't really think this way about them.
Yeah,
You
or at
shouldn't
least they would.
really like. Hmm, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, it's like the add-on with it that what you're about to say. They tell their fans to like, please don't actually do this. All right, like don't
Hmm.
attack other people because one, it's not for the fact. I think it's also for the fact that they don't want themselves to get hurt by this too. But it's also in some weird ways too that the fan groups that they are a part of too, the influencers have some type of responsibility, like in a weird way. Do you think?
They do. They do. That's why Logan and Jake Paul really went downhill in their popularity. Really.
At least to us, it feels like they did. I don't know how relevant they are. The only thing I at least know about them that they're only being talked about right now is either Jake Paul's like current like boxing match with now finally an actual boxer and he lost. Cool. And then there's also the whole crypto Zeus shit that happened with Logan Paul, which he did he outright scam them? Probably. But also at the same time, he did lose a fuck ton of their money.
Hmm.
So it's like so in this case too, it's like in one parts too, is it the influencers or is it also like the fan spot, or is it just a combination of both?
I think it's a combination of both. You see, here's the thing: if an influencer says don't do this, but then you do it, that's your own fault, right?
Hmm.
So, but if an influencer tells you to do this and you do this, it's the influencer fault.
But it also ends
It,
up being your fault too if you yourself
for
listening to what person on the internet says, right?
Yeah, yeah. So
And
I
it's
mean,
mm,
yes, I think it could. I mean, it's mostly both ways. To be honest, it is both ways.
mm,
They're called influencers for a reason,
yeah, they're nothing more than just salesmen people at this point. They're
essentially,
like they are there to sell you something, and they are also not your friends at all.
and they're there to sell you their content.
Yeah.
That's really all it is.
Yeah, like if anything, too, like me and Victor have watched a lot of like gun owner content creators, and we probably know too, like their whole purpose too is the fact that they try to educate you about guns. And in this case, gun ownership is cool, and if anything, it works. I too want to own a gun. Please, FBI, do not find me.
I
But
too want to own a 6 hour.
but yeah, but this also it's a very weird. Like I said, this is a very weird landscape right now too when it comes to like fandoms and how in this case like who the fans are, who like the person is to the fans, and what their relationship boundaries should be, right? Or if anything, what
Hmm.
type of responsibilities or accountabilities that every one of us should have. And I think realistically, the actual take about this too is please be a normal person, or at least please think rationally about the decisions that we all make here. As both
I just
a
say,
group,
I just say,
mm,
don't think of the idols as your significant other. That's really all it is.
yeah, or don't they could treat them as if like they're your like best friend, like they like you would die for them, but they would not do the same for you.
Yeah, because
Like,
they don't know you existed in the first place.
yeah, yeah, that's like honestly like the other thing too that I feel like will destroy some people, or it will destroy a lot of people knowing that, or if anything, they probably do know that, but at the same time,
Mhm.
they're themselves are living a lie to them, or they're living themselves a lie just so that one they don't have to face that truth or that reality that is exactly what's going on.
But let's be honest then. Let's be honest.
Hmm.
They're going to have to face it eventually. What
Yeah.
happens then?
Man.
You know, like you can't just say that you can't be so parasocial that you don't go meet anyone else.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's
Mm.
again like the problem being with like a lot of the parasocial people that do have parasocial problems, it's because of the fact that one, like they are very antisocial, and honestly, from what it sounds like too, if they're doing their best to like try to talk with someone on the internet, they probably do acknowledge the fact that like they do have an issue or problem that I do think, let's say VTubers and influencers, they can pick up on like the fact of like, hey, this person like legitimately needs help too, but it's like I can't help them with that, but you need to find friends. Or if anything, seek professional help. Just because right now, like the state at which a lot of the fandoms will go at this rate, I believe that they might implode on itself too. Which if anything might cause a crash to of a lot of streaming services as well. At least that's what I think. Then again, there's
Yeah,
also
I
again
don't know,
a
man.
bunch of normal people will still watch them, right?
Yeah, 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 it's normal. I mean, yeah, obviously there'll still be people that watch them. They enjoy the content that they provide.
Yeah. I don't know. It's honestly really
I
interesting.
am, I mean, thinking about it, I am concerned about these type of people because, like we said previously, it's becoming more prevalent. More and more people are showing their parasocial side.
Hmm.
What's gonna really happen once they have to face reality? Because it has to come down to that point.
Yeah. Like, I honestly do think too, like they honestly just need to have like a friends network or friends net that they can honestly like bounce back to. Just because like we are
Maybe,
only like we're
maybe,
human
maybe
people.
they.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I
My
mean,
bad.
I mean, like maybe they do. Maybe they do have friends. It's just, but probably it's just internet friends.
Hmm. Like it's like I don't know. It's like it's weird enough too that like the internet has created a whole new type of connectivity, but it also has isolated so many people. It's such a weird like inverse effect if you think about it that way.
Mm.
Hmm.
Because as much as the internet has connected more people, it has also made people more lonely, which I think grew rise with a lot more prevalence to parasocial behaviors. I think back then it was probably still a problem, but not to the extent that we're seeing now.
Mm.
Mm, yeah.
And this probably goes stemming back to the fact that like I think in a way like that's why I say like parasocial people with parasocial issues, they are just missing a very human like aspect or a human need that they need to have, which is like, social interactions, which in most people's cases, they can only get that through the internet. And that's something that's like should be a lot of alarms be going off on people. Like if you're friends with someone like that, dude, that should like sound a lot of alarms there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether they confront them or not is entirely up to the friend.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like if that were something that like again, if I had to end up going in that situation where like I knew someone that is going through that shit, I honestly would not know how to bring that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Honestly, how do you help? Like honestly, I'm being honest here. How do you truly help?
Yeah.
Because parasocial, in my eyes, is borderline delusional.
Hmm.
I mean,
And it's
technically, it is delusional. You're imagining this. They're imagining the streamer as your significant other,
mhm.
essentially.
Yeah, and it's also like, how can you give it like let's say us as like a scenario, like we know someone that's like that's infatuated with this girl, but then we ourselves know that that girl that he's like so attached to is like, oh my god, there's so many fucking red flags, dude. Why are you still chasing after her? Like that kind of shit.
Or I mean, you could do the most easiest example is that he likes this girl so much, but then the girl doesn't even know he exists.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we've been in that situation back in high school before. I'm sure of it.
Uh, I would like to suppress a lot of those memories. Thank you.
I'm sure of it. So, just think of it like that. Just think of
Yeah,
it
yeah,
like that, you know? I,
yeah. It's
sure, eventually as friends we did confront the friend,
mhm,
confront each other about these kind of things, and we did say, she didn't even know, she didn't even like you, bro. Just move on. Find someone else.
mhm. And
But back then, saying that to you in person is a lot easier than just telling another person in the internet that you don't know that you should probably not be so parasocial.
yeah, or if anything, you're trying to defend like some of the behaviors too. But it's like I feel like the ones that do are trying to defend it too is probably because like they themselves kind of acknowledge the fact that like if anything, it doesn't do anyone better if you try to like attack or vilify them, right? Like
Yeah,
that
yeah. I
doesn't
mean, just
help
like
any.
anything, if you attack them, if you attack anybody, it just doesn't help at all. You can bring it up, but how the other person takes it is totally up to them.
Yeah, and
It's out of your control.
like here's the thing too. I get it to some degree too. That like sometimes they just need to be checked with like the harsh reality about these things. Like you just tell them straight up, like, "Hey, man, this is not healthy for you." And if anything, you're literally like delusional if you do this type of shit. Obviously, if you bring it that type of shit to their face right then and there too, they can't take it any other way than you are just attacking them. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah, I agree.
it's like in the same sense too. Like if we were trying to like develop some type of empathy, going on around here too, you could probably like we ourselves need to understand like how they got here in the first place. Because like any
Mm-hmm.
problems in life, you have to start understanding with like how they got here in the first place, rather than the fact that like, hey, stop doing this behavior now. When it's just like they're just gonna do the same shit if you just say that,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
not
You're
even
just
considered
slapping a
like reverse
band-aid
psych.
on. Yeah, you're not finding the root cause. You're just slapping a band-aid on.
Yeah, you're
They'll just
just
rip off themselves.
That's why I
yeah,
think therapy is very important for those people. It's like you
like
really need to get to the really nitty gritty of what your problem is, like very, very deep down in your heart. You have to get rid of that, or else you're
or
just suppressing it, like you said, slapping a band-aid on it.
yeah. It's either to get rid of or just try to like acknowledge that you have like a problem, right? Which if anything, I
Yeah.
do like I think a lot of people do admit to themselves that there is an issue of problem that they do have. But again, it's something that they are themselves are probably more terrified of like confronting themselves just because the only people that they have supporting them is like the people online. Like
Yeah.
that's honestly the sad reality of a lot of these people here.
What's worse is those people probably don't even truly know who they are in real
Yeah.
life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's just like I don't know. I feel like in this case, the talking points here, we shouldn't really say that, like, did the internet destroy, like, social structures? If anything, no. But at the same time, this is also comes to the fact, too, that, like, a lot of people are, like, not knowing how to, like, set up boundaries is the main core issue here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can still be friends online over the internet. It's just like you have, like, a lot of good examples of, like, people setting up boundaries about, like, don't trust people over the internet.
It's just really, oh God, how do I explain this?
Mm. I think the basic way to really explain this is like it's the same concept. Like you have to set yourself like with enough like boundaries about like people that you meet online to the same extent of like, would you trust a random person that says this, hey, if you want to buy this new free iPhone, click on this link. Albeit this is probably
Oh,
like a terrible like comparison, but it's sort of less like the same like principle about like would you trust that person, right?
yeah, it comes down. Okay, go back to that internet thing. There we go. I got it. Is that the internet's a tool, just like anything else in life. If you use
Mhm.
the tool right, it will benefit you. If you use the tool wrong, it will be terrible for you, essentially.
Yeah. Eh,
So that's the point I'm trying to get at. That was what I was trying to figure out.
Mhm. And it feels as though, like, to some people too, like, the internet doesn't really help them, like, set their own boundaries correctly too, because they probably themselves don't know what their boundaries are either.
I mean, it's just these people using the internet wrong. Is what I'm saying.
Mhm.
You know, they're
Yeah.
using the internet to make them feel better, make them feel good,
Mhm.
which is not terrible. But of course, too much of a good thing is a bad thing, as they say. So you make yourself feel too good, then it starts becoming a problem.
Yeah, look what happened to Twitter. Oh, actually, before Elon
Yeah,
Musk buying out Twitter, look what happened to it still.
yeah. So
Yeah.
all these people that always want like this instant gratification kind of a thing.
Mhm.
You get too much of it, now it becomes a bad thing.
Yeah, like, in this case, tying back altogether, this is pretty much, like, how I think, like, a lot of, like, the fandoms at least how I feel the fandoms are, right?
Yeah, fandoms of just anything really, any
Yeah,
sports, streaming, games, anime, just literally anything.
yeah, and it's really hard to really, like, point out, like, any good positive sides of, like, trying to be a fan of anything at this point.
Mm.
Just
Mhm.
because, like, if you're a fan of one thing, you're gonna be attacked by, like, another group of people that you have no idea who the fuck they are, telling you that you're a piece of shit.
Essentially, yeah.
It's like, I don't know. I guess I find that a little bit humorous, but to some people, they will probably, like, take that to heart, right?
Yeah.
They would probably.
Eh, oh, man, that I feel like that topic alone is, like, another separate issue that, like, I feel like if any it strings itself back to being, like, parts of the fandom, but it's like that behavior alone is like its own topic to deal with, right?
Mm.
Like,
Mhm.
holy shit. Um, I think right now that is as much as I could really talk about on this topic here, unless you guys want to add anything else to it.
Mm. Feel
Yeah,
like
bro. I think we beat this topic down to the ground enough for today.
Yeah,
yeah.
we beat it down
Hey,
like all the other unfortunate members in the K-pop industry. I'm kidding. I'm not making any dark jokes. I'm sorry. Shit.
bro,
Remember,
sensitive time.
I'm
remember
sorry.
Boy,
everyone.
calm down.
I'm
Remember
sorry.
everyone, and get help.
Literally, somebody just passed away a few days ago.
I
Calm
know.
down, bro.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. That's like
I'm just joking, but
dis-
for real though.
disclaimer. Everything that I try to at least say, please take this as like opinions and mostly jokes too. But if anything, please seek help if you are coming through issues. Preferably not through me. I am not qualified. Please
No,
don't
like
actually ask me for help.
really get a therapist, or at least try to make the effort and reaching out to your friends first. That is
Yeah,
the first step. Admitting that
there is a
you
problem.
are sad, you have a problem. Tell your friends. Maybe they can help you out. Then you can move on from there, get a therapist, and that would really help. I personally, I know my coworker, she goes like she goes through therapy, and it's really helped her out in the past year, and she's much better now. As I only got to know her for like this past month, and she
Hmm.
said it's very great for her.
Yeah.
If your friends make fun of you, skip the friends, go to a therapist.
Shit. Probably.
You can
Yeah, if
also
that
get
is the
that.
issue.
You can
That
also
is
get
just
that
the
too.
issue, straight up, dude. Like, if you can't trust your friends because they'll probably make light of your problems, dude, yeah, just go to a therapist, straight up. Anyways, we'll end the night on that note then. Thank God that I have you guys on here too, man. If I did this solo, oh man, I would I would just end the stream right then and there. Oh
That
fuck.
Hey,
Anyways,
we're here to bounce off each other.
yeah. Anyways,
sounded
thanks.
pretty homey, bro.
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah,
Anyways, good night, y'all.
yeah. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Have a good evening then.
Thanks, y'all.